It was a quiet Toledo morning on June 25th, 2025. Inside an apartment at the Boulder Creek complex on South Burn Road, 37-year-old Ashley Morris Fonseca was facing her worst fear. Her teenage son dialed 911, the person he feared harming his mother. He didn't know then how much he would see or how deeply it would scar him forever. When officers arrived, they found the unimaginable, a domestic violence scene that had erupted into tragedy. Ashley was collapsing from gunshot wounds. Nearby, 46-year-old Lawrence Moore lay dead by his own hand. The narrative was immediately clear. Ashley had been shot. Then her partner turned the weapon on himself. Her teenage son and younger brother were in the apartment when it happened, left to witness a moment none of them could ever erase. Ashley was rushed to the University of Toledo Medical Center, but she didn't survive the night. She passed away the following evening at 7:47 p.m., surrounded by strangers, not the arms that she spent her life protecting. The Lucas County coroner later confirmed the cause of death as multiple gunshot wounds, officially classified a homicide. This tragedy didn't happen in a vacuum. Just months before, Ashley had taken to Facebook in desperation, pleading for help, warning the world she no longer felt safe. She wrote of guns pushed against her head, threats made in front of her children, and a fear that her sons could become motherless. These weren't private complaints. They were clear cries for protection. The day's events rattled the community on multiple levels. Survivors of domestic violence saw echoes of their own lives. One Toledo neighbor, Karen Diaz, recognized a chilling parallel. Ashley's mother had been killed in a high-profile domestic violence incident in the late 1990s. For Diaz, the horror was painfully familiar and heartbreakingly cyclical. The devastation didn't end with Ashley's death. After the official declaration, community members came forward. A memorial fund was established for her funeral expenses and to support her two sons, ages 15 and 7, both now left parentless in a single instant. But beyond the grief and loss, this story raises urgent questions. Why were Ashley's public warnings not taken seriously? How did threats escalate so violently, so quickly, right in the place she should have felt safest? Stay with us. Through this video, we'll follow Ashley's journey, her struggle, her courage, and ultimately, the violent end she feared so desperately. We'll hear her voice again through her Facebook posts. Look at how this tragedy reflects a broken cycle, and ask ourselves, how many more lives must be lost before we decide to break it? Ashley Morris Fonseca wasn't just another name in the headlines. She was a vibrant, ambitious young woman whose light touched the lives of everyone around her. At just 15 years old, Ashley had dreams that reached far beyond the boundaries of her daily life. Friends and family remember her as someone with a kind spirit, always ready to lend a hand or share a laugh. Her energy was magnetic, and her future looked promising, filled with goals and aspirations only just beginning to take shape. Born and raised in New Jersey, Ashley grew up in a close-knit community where family meant everything. She was surrounded by people who supported and cared for her, and she thrived in that environment. Her warm smile and joyful nature left lasting impressions on everyone she met, classmates, teachers, and neighbors alike. She wasn't just known, she was loved. In school, Ashley excelled. She was a dedicated student with a sharp mind and a heart full of curiosity. Teachers often describe her as respectful, motivated, and creative. A young girl who stood out not just for her academic promise, but for her kindness. She wasn't loud or showy. Her presence was quiet but powerful, leaving a ripple wherever she went. Outside of school, Ashley had a love for art and music. She enjoyed expressing herself creatively, whether through sketching, journaling, or listening to her favorite songs. These were not just hobbies. They were outlets that gave her peace and joy, helping her navigate the roller coaster of teenage life. She had a soft heart and was known for her empathy, always offering words of encouragement to friends who were struggling. Despite her young age, Ashley had maturity that surpassed her years. She was thoughtful, reflective, and grounded. While many teenagers grapple with finding their place in the world, Ashley carried herself with a rare blend of humility and strength. She was someone who looked out for others, sometimes to the detriment of her own well-being, a quality that spoke volumes about her character. Friends described Ashley as someone you confide in. She didn't judge, she listened. She offered advice that made sense, not because she knew all the answers, but because she truly cared. That sense of trustworthiness and loyalty made her a beloved figure in her circle. She was the type of friend people held on to tightly, the kind you don't come across often. At home, Ashley shared a close bond with her family. Her parents and siblings were a central part of her world. They watched with pride as she blossomed into a bright, compassionate teenager. The home was filled with laughter, music, and support, a sanctuary where Ashley could be herself, dream big, and feel safe. It's the memory of that warmth and love that her family holds on to today. Ashley's story is not just about a tragedy. It's about who she was before the headlines. A daughter, a sister, a student, a friend, a young girl with dreams, compassion, and a heart big enough for everyone she met. To understand the weight of her loss, we must first remember the beauty of her life. And it is in that memory that her story continues to echo in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. From the outside, Ashley Morris Fonseca's relationship seemed like a typical teenage romance, full of text messages, shared moments, and the innocent excitement that often comes with young love. But underneath that surface were subtle signs that all was not well. What initially appeared to be affection slowly began to show signs of control, jealousy, and emotional manipulation. Like many teenagers, Ashley may not have fully understood that what she was experiencing wasn't normal love. It was possessiveness disguised as passion. Her relationship with the young man, who would later be charged with her murder, reportedly began with small gestures, frequent check-ins, asking where she was, who she was with. To a teenager, that kind of attention can feel flattering, even comforting. But over time, the intensity grew. What should have been caring evolved into controlling behavior. He became increasingly demanding of her time and attention, leaving her with little space for independence. Ashley's friends later recalled changes in her mood and behavior. She seemed more withdrawn, less vibrant. She stopped hanging out as much, and when she did, her phone was constantly buzzing, often with messages from him. Some of her friends tried to talk to her, to ask if everything was okay. But Ashley, like many young people in difficult relationships, may not have known how to open up about what she was going through. Or worse, she might have believed that what she was experiencing was just part of love. In many cases of teen dating violence, the red flags are subtle at first. It might be controlling language like, if you loved me, you wouldn't, or frequent accusations of flirting or cheating.
Hello, I'm Jeff Smith. I thought it was important to take a moment and reflect on the loss of a Toledoan this week. Ashley Fonseca, also known as Ashley Morris, was just 10 when Toledoans learned of the tragic day in 1998 that changed her life. We're about to show you the story that we put together 2 years ago, marking the 25th anniversary of that tragic day. Ashley was brave that day 2 years ago, brave enough to meet with me and photojournalist Paul Kwapik, honoring her mother who died in a violent attack. Sadly, this week, Ashley's life was cut short, and by all indications, it was an act of domestic violence. We mourn her, and we pray that she is now at peace. Here's our story from February 13th, 2023. Monroe and Secor, one of Toledo's busiest intersections. It's seen its share of traffic and crashes and demonstrations over the years, but nothing compares to what happened here 25 years ago. It was February 13th, 1998, one of Toledo's most violent and tragic days. And although the horror of that day ended in this spot, its impact has never gone away.
Man, calm down, tell me what's going on. There's a guy that just pulled in the backyard. He has got a knife.
No, there's not a Friday the 13th that goes by that it doesn't come back into my mind.
Hey, dispatch, we got people all over this place here panicking.
And it still feels fresh. You know, I was old enough to still remember everything, so I was 10. I can remember everything.
Ashley Morris was 10 when the man stalking her mother repeatedly stabbed her.
Like, if I could replay it again, like I'm there. I remember every little detail.
Joe Chappell worked with and was obsessed with Ashley's mom, Vivian Morris, and he couldn't handle the rejection. That Friday afternoon, he attacked Ashley first.
I got stabbed 14 times. I remember, I got all the scars everywhere. After that, I had it's called mitral prolapse, I guess, trauma to the heart. So I had heart problems, and I got tendon problems from getting stabbed in my tendons.
He then went after Ashley's brother Adam for wounding her mom so badly she would later die in an ambulance.
You gotta calm down, boy. We can't understand you.
Chappell wasn't done. He ambushed the ambulances carrying Morris and her kids, shooting 2 first responders.
I turned to the left and all I saw him was doing was aiming the shotgun at me, and next thing I know, I was flying through there.
He shot and killed 21-year-old Brandy Williams when she wouldn't give up her truck to him.
With a shotgun?
I think my son thinks it was a shotgun.
And then the final scene, the chaos, when Toledo police shot and killed him.
They shoot out the back window. There's a second. There he goes. Shots fired. Shots fired.
When you Monday morning quarterback this, do you just rack your brain and think, my God, how in God's name could there be that evil in our town, and how could something like this play out in Toledo, Ohio?
Well, I got to say, it's a fact that there's evil in the world, and we're always going to have it. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can be in the safest place in the world, and bad things can happen.
Former Toledo Police Chief Jack Smith was one of 2 officers who shot and ended Chappell's trail of terror. Captain Joe Heffernan was just a rookie.
And everybody just did everything they could to get that guy that day. We knew that if we let him continue, it was going to end up in
more loss of life,
more carnage. He wasn't going to go down easily.
The last 25 years have not been easy for Ashley. She's been strong ever since she was a kid. A tattoo on her hand showing she's a survivor. A constant reminder of her mom on her shoulder. She stays in Toledo to be close to her mom and the baby she lost. A tattoo for that baby on the left arm. She knows she had friends and classmates who loved and supported her. But still, there are days now that are tougher than others.
Because back then, a lot of stuff that happened to me didn't happen often, like it does now. Back then, it was murders like that happened once in a blue moon in Toledo, Now it's all the time. So when I hear stories like that happen like that, it brings back memories. Or I'm into big documentaries and stuff, so sometimes I like to watch it just because I feel like that's happened to me. It's not just me.
What would you say to her now 25 years later?
Well, I'm glad she survived, and I hope she uses her life to be a person that can bring out that message that you can survive something like this, and be a vessel for good.
They and the other families involved, they're always in my prayers. It was tragic. It was an incredible load for those 2 kids to carry the rest of their lives, to see something like that happen.
Do you sometimes ask yourself, or I don't know if you're religious, do you?
Yeah, why me? Why our life? Why did I have to get, dealt with the cards I got dealt with? Nervous, be strong, it only happens to the strong ones, but how long can you be strong?
But she is strong, finding strength in raising her boys, reminding them of their grandma, how she loved her kids, and how she would have loved them. Unfortunately and sadly and tragically, Ashley lost her life to domestic violence this week. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available and you are not alone. Right here in Toledo, there are resources ready to support you. The YWCA of Northwest Ohio offers a 24-hour crisis hotline, emergency shelter, legal advocacy, and support services for survivors. You can call them anytime at the number on your screen. You can also find more information and additional resources by dialing 211 for United Way or visiting ToledoPolice.com under the Victims Resources tab.
This wasn't a sudden crime of passion, they argued. It was the end result of a calculated decision made by someone who had refused to accept rejection. Defense attorneys, meanwhile, tried to explore the suspect's mental health, upbringing, and emotional state, suggesting that deeper psychological issues may have been at play. But no matter the angle, one truth remained clear. A young girl had lost her life, and her family would never be the same. The case drew attention from advocacy groups and legal professionals alike. Domestic violence prevention organizations used Ashley's story to raise awareness about the signs of abuse in teen relationships, many of which are overlooked or dismissed as young love or normal drama. In reality, they warned, these behaviors can escalate into violence if left unaddressed, and Ashley's case was the most tragic proof. As the legal process continued, Ashley's family, friends, and supporters watched closely, hoping for justice, but also seeking meaning in the madness. The courtroom became not just a place of judgment, but a symbol of their fight, not only for Ashley's memory, but for every young person trapped in an unhealthy or abusive relationship. Their message was clear. This should never have happened, and it must never happen again. In the wake of Ashley Morris Fonseca's tragic death, her family was left shattered. Their bright, ambitious daughter, full of life and hope, had been taken from them in the most unimaginable way. Her parents and siblings struggled to comprehend the depth of the loss, often speaking through tears about Ashley's smile, her dreams of becoming a nurse, and the joy she brought into their home. Her mother, in particular, became a voice for change, urging schools and communities to recognize and respond to signs of teen dating violence. West Orange High School, where Ashley had been a student, immediately entered a period of mourning. Grief counselors were brought in to support students and staff, and a memorial space was created on campus for friends and classmates to pay tribute. Students left flowers, handwritten notes, and photos, gestures of love and remembrance that reflected how deeply Ashley had touched their lives. Teachers, too, expressed sorrow, recalling her intelligence, kindness, and dedication to her studies. The school also took steps to address the broader issue of teen violence in relationships. In the weeks following the incident, administrators organized assemblies and workshops focusing on healthy relationships, conflict resolution, and how to seek help. Counselors and educators emphasized that abuse isn't limited to adults, that manipulation, control, and violence can affect teens too. These conversations, though painful, were necessary and overdue. In the broader West Orange community, the tragedy sent ripples of grief and shock. Candlelight vigils were held in Ashley's honor, drawing hundreds of mourners, many of whom didn't know her personally but felt compelled to stand with her family. Local leaders, including the mayor and school board members, made public statements condemning the violence and pledging to do more to protect students. Churches and community organizations offered support and healing spaces for those struggling to process the event. One of the most powerful community responses came in the form of advocacy. Parents, youth advocates, and survivors of domestic violence began organizing meetings and campaigns aimed at increasing awareness of teen dating violence. There were calls for stronger educational policies, more accessible mental health resources, and clearer reporting mechanisms within schools. Ashley's story, though tragic, became a catalyst for conversations that had long been avoided or minimized. Social media also played a major role in amplifying Ashley's legacy. Hashtags bearing her name trended locally, and friends shared videos, photos, and memories to honor her life. Messages poured in from across the country, offering condolences and solidarity. The online space became not just a memorial but a movement, one that insisted young women like Ashley must be protected, heard, and respected. Through it all, Ashley's family remained at the center, grieving, yes, but also determined to turn their pain into purpose. They spoke at community events, partnered with domestic violence organizations, and began exploring ways to establish a foundation in Ashley's name. For them, honoring Ashley meant ensuring that no other family would have to endure the heartbreak they now lived with daily. Their courage, resilience, and love have become a powerful force for awareness, change, and healing. Ashley Morris Fonseca's story, while deeply personal, shines a broader light on an urgent and growing issue: teen dating violence. Across the United States, millions of teenagers experience some form of abuse in their relationships, whether emotional, verbal, psychological, physical, or sexual. For many, the signs go unnoticed or unreported. Young people often struggle to recognize the difference between love and control, especially in their first relationships. Ashley's tragic end reminds us of how critical it is to talk openly with teens about the warning signs before it's too late. Teen dating violence doesn't happen in a vacuum. It is often influenced by complex social pressures, family dynamics, and mental health challenges. Many teens aren't equipped with the emotional tools to manage rejection, insecurity, or conflict in healthy ways. Without strong role models or access to mental health support, unhealthy patterns can quickly escalate into dangerous territory. In Ashley's case, the relationship with her ex-boyfriend showed signs of obsession and possessiveness, behaviors that should never be normalized or overlooked. Schools are on the front lines of this issue. They're where teens spend most of their time, form social bonds, and often seek guidance. Yet, many schools lack the resources or training to effectively address dating violence. Programs focus on healthy relationships, consent, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution need to be part of curriculum, not just optional assemblies after a tragedy. Educators and school counselors must also be trained to spot red flags and know how to intervene safely and effectively. Mental health awareness plays a crucial role in prevention. Teens who struggle with anxiety, depression, trauma, or low self-esteem may be more vulnerable to entering or remaining in toxic relationships. Similarly, teens who haven't learned healthy coping mechanisms may act out in harmful or violent ways when faced with stress or heartbreak. Providing consistent, stigma-free mental health support, including access to therapists and peer groups, is essential to breaking these cycles. Parents also play a vital role. Open communication, trust, and guidance from home can empower teens to make safer choices. But this requires parents to be educated as well. Many parents don't know how to talk about dating violence, or they underestimate the seriousness of teen relationships. Community workshops and resources can help bridge this gap, equipping parents with the tools to support their children emotionally and protectively. Technology and social media further complicate the picture. Teens today live in a world of constant digital connection, which can amplify both love and harm. Texting, DMs, location tracking, and public posts can be used to manipulate, surveil, or humiliate. Digital abuse is real and it's growing. Teaching teens about digital boundaries, privacy, and online respect must be part of any modern prevention strategy. Ultimately, prevention is a shared responsibility. Families, schools, communities, and policymakers must work together to build environments where teens feel safe, heard, and supported. Ashley's story cannot be in vain. By turning this tragedy into a platform for education and change, we honor her memory and take meaningful steps toward ensuring that every teenager can navigate love without fear. Ashley Morris Fonseca's story isn't just about a tragic loss. It speaks to broader societal issues that affect countless teens and families every day. At its core, this case reveals how easily unhealthy relationship dynamics can go unnoticed or unaddressed, even in communities where people care deeply. It pushes us to reflect not only on the individuals involved, but on the environments that shape young minds. Our schools, our families, our media, and our cultural messages about love, gender, and control. One significant theme is the normalization of possessive behavior in young relationships. Too often, jealousy and control are mislabeled as signs of deep affection, especially in teenage circles where emotions run high and experience is limited. When a teen says he just loves me so much, it may mask a deeper issue of coercion or manipulation. Education around emotional intelligence and healthy communication is vital in reframing how young people define love and boundaries. Another powerful theme is the silence that surrounds dating violence, particularly among adolescents. Teens may feel ashamed, scared, or uncertain about how to speak up. Many worry they won't be believed or will be blamed for what's happening. Others may feel trapped by peer pressure or social consequences. Breaking that silence means creating safe, judgment-free spaces in schools, homes, and communities where young people can express their concerns without fear. Gender dynamics also play a role. While both boys and girls can be victims or perpetrators, toxic masculinity often discourages boys from expressing vulnerability or managing emotions in a healthy way. In Ashley's case, her ex-boyfriend's inability to accept the end of their relationship may have stemmed from deeply ingrained beliefs about ownership, rejection, and male dominance. Addressing these underlying attitudes must be part of the solution. The case also exposes the urgent need for early intervention. By the time a situation escalates to violence, it's often too late. Early warning signs like obsessive texting, controlling behavior, isolation from friends, or emotional outbursts should never be brushed aside. Instead, adults must be equipped to notice and respond before things spiral. Prevention efforts must start in middle school, if not earlier, to instill lifelong values of empathy, respect, and autonomy. There's also a glaring need for systemic support, from laws that address teen-specific forms of abuse to school policies that prioritize emotional safety. In many places, existing laws don't fully protect teens in dating relationships, especially if they aren't living together or married. Updating legislation and ensuring schools have clear protocols for handling abuse can create accountability and protection where it's most needed. Furthermore, mental health cannot be separated from this conversation. Emotional instability, untreated trauma, and lack of coping mechanisms can all contribute to dangerous behaviors. Accessible, affordable, and youth-centered mental health care should be seen not as a luxury, but as a public necessity. Without it, we will continue to see avoidable tragedies unfold. Ultimately, Ashley's death demands more than mourning. It calls for movement, a movement toward better education, stronger support systems, and a culture that prioritizes the well-being of its youth over outdated notions of love, pride, and silence. We must listen, we must learn, and above all, we must act so that the next Ashley can be protected, not memorialized. The heartbreak of Ashley Morris Fonseca's story reminds us that silence is never a solution. If we are to honor her memory meaningfully, we must turn our grief into action. That begins with every individual, parents, teachers, peers, and community members, committing to creating a safer world for teenagers navigating the complexities of relationships. We must challenge ourselves to become better listeners, better observers, and better supporters. Schools play a pivotal role in this call to action. Implementing comprehensive relationship education that goes beyond biology and touches on respect, emotional boundaries, warning signs of abuse, and healthy conflict resolution is essential. Programs like peer mentoring, student-led support groups, and anonymous reporting systems can empower students to speak up and seek help. No teenager should ever feel like they are facing relationship trauma alone or without support. Parents and guardians must also be equipped to have open, honest conversations about love, respect, and control. These talks shouldn't just happen after a problem arises. They should be part of ongoing dialogue. Normalizing discussions about emotions, breakups, jealousy, and trust at home gives teens the language they need to identify harmful dynamics early. It also ensures they know they can turn to their families for help without fear of blame or punishment. Community leaders and local organizations can provide valuable support by creating awareness campaigns, offering teen-centered counseling services, and organizing events that engage youth in healthy relationship building. Churches, mosques, community centers, and sports clubs can all serve as safe havens where teens can learn and grow in environments that promote mutual respect and kindness. Legislators and policymakers also have a responsibility. Laws must reflect the realities that teenagers face in modern relationships. This includes strengthening protections for minors experiencing dating violence and ensuring swift consequences for those who threaten or harm others. Investment in school safety, mental health services, and public awareness efforts can help prevent tragedies before they happen. Most importantly, the community must stand together. Candlelight vigils, memorial scholarships, or school programs created in Ashley's name can send a powerful message that her life mattered and that change is not just possible, but necessary. Each time we share her story, we raise awareness and inspire others to pay attention, speak out, and step in when someone is in danger. This is our collective call to act not out of fear, but out of love, to support our youth, to confront uncomfortable truths, and to demand more from the systems meant to protect them. Ashley's light was dimmed too soon, but through our actions, we can help it shine on, guiding others towards safety, healing, and hope. As we come to the end of Ashley Morris Fonseca's heartbreaking story, it's impossible not to feel the weight of what was lost. A bright, kind, and ambitious young girl had her future stolen by someone who claimed to love her. Her absence leaves behind a silence that echoes through her family, her friends, and her community. But within that silence is also a message, one that calls on us to remember, to reflect, and most importantly, to to act. Ashley's story is not just about a tragedy. It's a mirror held up to society, revealing the cracks in how we talk about love, control, and emotional well-being among teens. It shows how dangerous it can be when warning signs are ignored, when victims feel isolated, and when perpetrators are not held accountable. It's a reminder that relationship violence doesn't begin in adulthood. It can start much earlier and often goes unseen. For the families listening, for the teachers watching, and for the young people living through their own private struggles, Ashley's story should serve as both a cautionary tale and a beacon. Let it remind us all that we must protect and empower our youth, that love should never hurt, and that no cry for help is ever too small to take seriously. We can't undo what happened, but we can make sure it doesn't happen again. In honoring Ashley, we must carry her memory forward with purpose. That means checking in on our teens, learning to recognize the signs of emotional manipulation or abuse, and offering safe spaces for conversations to happen. It means holding our institutions accountable for prioritizing student safety and mental health. And it means embracing compassion, not just in the aftermath of tragedy, but in everyday interactions. Ashley deserved so much more than what she received. She deserved to graduate high school, to chase her dreams, to grow, to love, and to be loved in return, safely and freely. While her physical presence may be gone, her story lives on as a call to all of us to do better, to protect, to educate, and to never stay silent in the face of harm. Let this not be just another sad story that fades with time. Let this be the turning point. Let Ashley's life inspire change, spark conversations, and save others who may be walking a similar path. And above all, let her memory be a light, fierce, beautiful, and never forgotten.